This is the Louie T Network.
Who else could it be? Me, your me, Louie T. Welcome to lockdown coverage, week number 15 in the National Football League. Jacksonville Jaguars destroying another opponent, this time the Houston Texans at home, 45-7. My God, these Jags are scary good, and they've become the team nobody wants a part of in the AFC playoffs. Now, again, I don't think they're good enough to beat either Pittsburgh or New England. They've already beaten Pittsburgh before, but the postseason is a totally different animal. And so I've said this before. I'll say it again. There's one of two responses to the postseason for a young team. In any sport, doesn't matter what sport it is. It's one of two responses. Either you can, one, be ignorant to the moment. You're too young to really realize how big the moment is. You don't really give a damn and you just go out and ball. Or the moment is too big for you because you've never been here. You don't have the experience necessary to know how to handle postseason play. Maybe you're so amped up that you don't calm down enough to think rationally. Maybe your emotions get the best of you. You're too amped up so you overrun a play, or you hit a guy and you have so much adrenaline going that you push him after a play, pick up a 15-yard penalty. You do the dumb things that cost you games when you're a young team because you don't have the experience. So one of two things are going to happen to this Jaguars team once the postseason gets here. But one thing's for sure, they're dangerous. They are dangerous, and they're playing arguably the best football of the season at the right time. And that's always the thing about the postseason is we talk about these teams and who's good and who's not, but there's something to be said about who's playing their best brand of football at the right time, because the hot teams are usually the teams that are the most tough to deal with come playoff time. You know, you could have started out the season hot, but you're not playing your best football at the end of the season, but you still get in because of the hot start to the season, but you get dealt with first week of the playoffs. Wild card weekend, you're going home. So Jags are playing their best brand of football right now, and Blake Bortles. I'm gonna talk about this defense. We always talk about the defense. I want to talk about Blake Bortles real quick, because Blake Bortles is playing quietly, hush, on the low. On the low, though, Blake Bortles is playing maybe his best football of his career. I mean that. He threw for over Did you know he threw for over 300 yards in this game? Did you know he only incompleted like 5 or 6, maybe 7 passes max in this game? Did you know he didn't throw any interceptions? Again. Found the end zone 3 times though, but didn't throw any picks. And those 3 touchdown passes, they came in the first half. They coasted in the second half. They were smoking those boys. Like 34 to nothing at halftime. 31, 34 to nothing, 27, something like that. They were crushing those boys. Blake was cruising on those boys in the first half. Making smart decisions with the football. There's a play, and these plays don't go. These plays don't go on SportsCenter or Football Night in America. You're not going to see this on anybody's highlight reel. But it's these little plays that you see from Blake Bortles that shows you the maturation of Blake Bortles. I can tell you at least 4 different instances of plays where Blake Bortles runs out of bounds with the ball in his hands 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and it's a sack. And you're like, hey, Blake, you were outside the pocket. You had plenty of time to just chuck it 15 rows up into the stands. Get rid of it. Don't take a 4-yard loss on 1st and 10 and make it 2nd and 14. It's those little things that shows me the growth and maturation in Blake Bortles. He was pressured. He was outside the pocket. You know what he said? Throw this away. 2nd and 10. Live to fight another day. That's important, because it's those little things that keep you on schedule. The next play, they ran for 4 yards, and on 3rd and 6, he completed a pass to Jadon Mickens, and they moved the sticks. It's those types of plays that keep you on schedule, that allow you to keep drives alive and score points. And with this defense, you don't need a ton of points to win football games. Take care of the rock, make plays when you're called upon to make plays, and this could be a dangerous team. And right now, Blake Bortles is playing arguably his best football. Everybody keeps saying, well, they still have Blake Bortles at quarterback. Maybe they do, and maybe that's not a bad thing. We're going to see. I want to see when things get tough, when good teams are in front of him, can Blake Bortles continue to play this brand of football? Because he's been outstanding of late. And not a lot of people. I don't think he's had a bad game since the Chargers game, where I thought at the end of that game he was horrid. But since then, and that was what, a month ago, maybe 5 weeks ago, he hasn't had a bad game since. He's been outstanding. So has his Jaguars team. And Jadon Mickens, all of a sudden, he's not just a special teams guy. 2 touchdown grabs in this game. He's making plays on third downs. You got to look out for him now. Keelan Cole with a career day. Well over 100 yards. He's making plays. All right? Now, all of a sudden, there are a number of weapons. D.D. Westbrook starting to get himself integrated into this offense. You've still got Mercedes Lewis at tight end. James O'Shaughnessy at tight end. Any back can get you any given week. This week, it was Cole. It was Corey Grant that led the team in rushing. With no Fournette in the lineup. And this was a perfect week to rest Leonard Fournette. Don't know if they were resting him, if he was really banged up. Doesn't matter. Perfect week to rest him. You don't need him for the Texans. Not with Tyler Jonathan Yates at quarterback. Sit him down, rest him up. And if you don't need to play him next week at the Niners, then don't. You need him for the playoffs. You've clinched. And let me say that right now. Congratulations to the Jaguars for clinching their first playoff berth in a decade. Haven't been in the postseason since 2007. Congratulations to that organization. The minute you hired Tom Coughlin, I knew shit was about to change. I just didn't expect it to be this fast. I said, shit's about to change. Tom Coughlin's going to come in there. He's going to implement a little bit of discipline. All these guys that have been out of control, they're talented but out of control, he's going to fix that. He's going to get you a quarterback. You're going to be fine. Well, Blake Bortles is playing quarterback at a high enough level that this team has won 10 games this season. This defense is dominant. This team, they're disciplined. They're nasty. They're physical. They get after your quarterback to create turnovers, and they're scoring points, whether it be special teams or offense or defense. They're scoring points. This team right now, dangerous. And it's not just the defense. Speaking of the defense, they did it again. Another 4 sacks. Only 7 points given up. Created mistakes, turnovers. Almost had another touchdown by the defense. One was called back on what I thought looked like a fumble. Looked like his hand was going forward. Empty. Ball was already out, but they called it an incomplete pass. Miles Jack scooped it up and scored. Looked like another defensive touchdown for this aggressive, harassing defense. Another great offseason acquisition no one talks about, Barry Church with another pick for this defense. They're playing ball, man. They're playing ball. And like I said last night, no one wants to see these boys. If you're one of the top 2 seeds, you're doing everything in your power to avoid the 2 seed because you don't want Jacksonville in the divisional round. You want the path of least resistance to the Super Bowl, or at least the AFC Championship game. And that includes not playing Jacksonville in the divisional round. And whoever has the 2 seed is going to have to deal with Jacksonville in the second round if they're able to get through their wild card weekend matchup, which I just don't see anybody in the wild card being able to beat this Jacksonville Jaguars team with the way that they're playing football right now. I just don't see it. And they're not out of the race for the number 1 or 2 seed, which is crazy. They can still get a first round bye. So, as well as they've played this year and as much as they've already accomplished at 10-4, clinching the division, well, clinching a playoff berth, they're going to win that division. They still can get a first round bye. They're not done yet. Look out for the Jaguars. For the Texans, there's not really much to say. I think Bill O'Brien's time is up in Houston. The quarterback carousel continues. One thing I can say about his time in Houston, he's never had stability at the quarterback position. Injuries have always put him in tough spots. No injuries bigger than this season with Watt and Merciless and Watson. It was an impossible season to deal with. And I think his run in Houston may be up. And they're just not a good football team right now. And stands for Nuke and Will Fuller. Not much to get excited about with this Texans football team right now. Nuke did it again and got another touchdown against one of the best corners in the league in Jalen Ramsey. But that was it. That was the only offense they had in this game was Nuke catching the football for the most part. And obviously it wasn't nearly enough as they fall again to 4-10 now on the season. Jags, meanwhile, are the inverse at 10-4, and they clinch a playoff spot. Congratulations to them again for clinching their first playoff berth in a decade. But they've got unfinished business. They still can get a first-round bye, and I think they've still got their eyes on the prize. And I love the message that Doug Marrone is pitching to his team. Look, we haven't done anything yet. We've still got more to accomplish. Don't rest on the fact that we've clinched. Let's go win the division. Let's go get a first-round bye. Let's be a dangerous team. Let's get it more than just a home playoff game. Let's get 2. Well, you get 1 if you get a 2 seed. But in any event, let's not settle for just making it. Just be great. They're taking to that message. They're a dangerous team right now as they get it done 45-7. God damn. That's how you handle family business. From now on, that's how you handle family business. So get to any comments that may be out there with this Jacksonville Jaguars football team. Let's see what we got. David Johnson says, fire Bill O'Brien and Rick Smith. I think both of those guys may be on the outs at the end of this season. Ken Rod says, the Steelers defense is in shambles. I think we can beat the Steelers again. Patriots, different thing. He is the GOAT for a reason. The Steelers defense is in shambles. But I think that they can find a way to win. They've been to the playoffs in the Super Bowl enough times that they know how to figure out a way to win. But, yes, you're right. You can. I think you can beat the New England Patriots, too. You know, you're just going to have to get after Brady. That's the key. Mazer12 says, we need Watson back. Plus, we can only go up from here, and mostly everyone, should be back next year. We'll see if that includes the head coach and the general manager. See. Eduardo O'Neill says, what do you think about a Jags-Rams Super Bowl? I think it would be disastrous for the NFL. Disastrous for the NFL. For NFL fans, they may enjoy it, but it'd be disastrous for the NFL. That's the one Super Bowl they don't want at all. They don't want that Super Bowl at all. Ken Rod says his accuracy and decision making is the biggest improvement this year. I agree. Decision making more so than accuracy, just because you could live with some of the misses, even though you're like, come on, Blake, hit that. You could live with some of the misses. It was some of the dumb decisions that resulted in turnovers and game-changing plays that you couldn't live with. He's eliminated that pretty much from his game for the most part, and then the accuracy has come a long way as well. I agree. Those are the things that are making him so much better. Brandon Williams says Jacksonville is a very good team, but if they go up against a team like New England, they're going to get their butts whipped. I don't know about butts whipped, but I don't know if they're going to be able to win the game or not. We'll see. Cloud says Houston shouldn't get rid of O'Brien yet. Let them have a full season with Watson. We'll see. I just don't know if that situation can survive how bad this season has gone. But O'Brien has made the playoffs at 9-7 every year he's been there, except for this year, and the injuries have been too much to bear. So if they give him another year, I wouldn't disagree with that. He was just on the verge of getting fired last year after making the playoffs at 9-7. I can't imagine them going 4-12, which they're on a crash course for this season, and him keeping his job when he was almost fired at 9-7. So we'll see what happens. In any event, we'll see if he's able to retain his job or not. Their GM, though, may be on the outs. Rick Smith, I don't love the job he's done. And so we'll see what he's able to do in terms of keeping his job in the offseason. Would not be shocked if one or both of those guys are gone on Black Monday once the season has met its conclusion in terms of the regular season. Anyway, Jags 45, Texans 7. Ass whooping commenced at what is it? Everbank Field in Jacksonville. Whew! Vicious, flavored, delicious, poetic scripture ass whooping dished out by the Jacksonville Jaguars as they clinch a playoff berth with their 10th win of the season, and they're one win away from clinching the AFC South division. They're on the road at San Francisco against a red-hot Jimmy Garoppolo. Bad time for Garoppolo to be coming up against this Jaguars defense, but we'll see. This is going to be a real good test for Jimmy Garoppolo next week, as this Jaguars defense that has put pressure on just about every quarterback they've seen this season, going up against one of the hotter quarterbacks in this league next week on the road against San Francisco. We'll see what they're able to do there, but they clinch a playoff berth, do the Jaguars, with their 10th win of the season, 45-7 over the Texans. That's going to do it for your man Louie T here on Lockdown Coverage for this episode, but I've got plenty more to come. Don't you go anywhere. More Lockdown Coverage coming your way. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content in 2017 and beyond. Changing the game over here. I want you to help us do that by simply hitting that subscribe button and becoming a member of the Louie T Network. I'll be right back with more Lockdown Coverage. Don't you go anywhere. I'll see you in a bit.